You doing?
Hey, my brother. It's been a while since we've connected.
Yes, yes. A lot of water under the bridge, so to speak.
I'm
How
gonna
are things?
say we haven't spoken since it was before my retreat, right?
I think so. Yes. Yep.
We spoke before and I told you I was having a retreat and Elaton was coming.
Yes. Yeah,
Did
I
I
think it
tell
was.
you did I tell you that I had spent time with Elaton, that I had been to a retreat with him in Michigan?
Yeah, I was watching you guys and sending y'all love all the while,
So
always keep a beat on the pulse.
was it between the time I went and saw him in Michigan and
It
between
might
my
have been,
retreat? I think that's when we talked.
it might have even been before, but it's been a while, surely.
Before I met with Elatom?
Before your Michigan retreat.
Okay, so even before that. Okay, so we're
I
talking
can't
like June, maybe 6 months it's been.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Been six
So,
months since we've caught up.
yep. It seems like it's just been a minute too, you know how it is, especially in life these days with family and work, you know, everything just wings by. So yeah, but trying to slow down at the same time, I think is part of this process we're talking about a little bit in terms of just relaxing into the speed of things, I suppose. Um, that's what I kind of,
Another year. Christmas is here again. New Year's is here again.
yeah,
There it goes again.
right. Another one
Another
around.
another
And
trip
it's a good
around the sun.
good time for setting forth intentions and bringing in new energy and new thoughts of what we want to do in 2020. I think there's big doings afoot. I think there's quite a bit that could of positive potential in this next year, despite the challenges. So it's going to be interesting, but we're all going to have to level up, I think, a little bit. But it's all natural. It's all part of the wu wei, the growing process of this thing, for all of us, everyone in the world, just the continual unfoldment of, life and
Just letting
dance
it
of
letting
things.
it letting our consciousness come through.
Yeah. And just being accepting of ourselves, being accepting of situations, being, and honoring, I think the last time we talked, we were both, you know, um, maybe more in the aspirant phase of our breatharian process. And I think you and I both matured along that path since then. And I know for me, it's come with gaining a greater acceptance of what the householder years mean in terms of what you can expect of your, self, and to be realistic and gentle and and so forth, because you know it's we all have that drive inculcated, and it's important to follow our drives and move, press out, and become our greatest version of ourselves, but not to push too hard, you know. And that's been
Self-acceptance,
part of what's been going on for me
self-acceptance,
since we last.
deeper
Yeah, since
self-acceptance, deeper self-acceptance.
totally since we last talked, had been managing to keep uh, you know almost like 90% or more liquid diet um, the whole time. But when Ellie Tom came out, he totally rocked my world when he was just like, eat with your family. It's like, do it on the weekend, do it regularly as a practice to be more connected with them. I felt that was very, very helpful in that same, like where my body was physically able to go there and my consciousness too, but I was leaving my family essentially. I was self-isolating in this process. And so grounding back in, I feels like a lot of the energy is coming forth too of, you know, um, that same thing of self-acceptance, acceptance of the moment and where we're at, to get is a blessing to get where we So,
So going beyond food, going beyond, it's about food or not eating food, right?
yes,
Right.
absolutely.
And that's it. Like you start this thing by fasting, by pushing away the food. But it ultimately becomes about loving yourself,
Right. And
accepting
about,
yourself, and making peace with all aspects of yourself.
and about having a good experience. We've all come here to have a nice experience with our families and with our work situations, and there's different phase. That was a leading thing for me to hear more deeply about when Ellie Tom came out to speak with us and teach with us. Was going into detail about the different phases of your life and what are good practices to enable this consciousness. Essentially, is what we're chasing, is a consciousness that is free and easy and energetic and healthy and whole. And so,
And
um,
loving and
and
light
loving,
and infinite, right?
absolutely.
And infinite, and it's inside of us, and we all have access to it, regardless of who we are, or what sex we are, or what color we are, or what religion we are. It doesn't matter. It's within each one of us, and it's a light, and it's an
Right.
energy, and it's a sustaining, loving light energy that's within us. And when you stay away from food, when you fast from food and you fast from thought, that you come into a space of stillness in which place that consciousness lives. And if you come to know that space well enough inside of you, that you can enter that space and have certainty of that space and know that that is you.
Right.
It becomes a knowing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's
That's
a
what we're
practice.
chasing.
That's a practice that develops a knowing. So it's a knowledge of, a mindset, and it's a practice of a meditation, an interaction, a loving interaction with each moment. Loving and enjoying each moment of my life as much as I can, consciously engaging with each moment and loving and embracing each moment as much as I can.
Yeah, it's this golden energy we get to play with that's inside of us and all around us, and that is you and is me, and we're all in this oneness dance with creation of electromagnetic energy. And this, it's a beautiful concert of synergy if you can dial into your own source and not feel the chaos of it all, but feel that harmony that is within and without, as a practice of focus.
Harmony is like a blending, right? A blending of the two forces, the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine energy. That's the dance, right? That mixing and swaying of the energies, the pendulum. It swings like that. And that's how the energy is inside of the being. Is it's not bad and good, is it's not some needs to be put away and some needs to be hidden, but all of it to be invited up and to be able to move freely, to be moved with each breath.
Mm-hmm.
Because each breath is a moment.
And that's the other thing I love about breatharianism, is to clue into that too, and try to live that as much of your day as possible. Like, how precious and joyous is this moment that we get to be here in these bodies, these precious human bodies, and cruise around the world and see all the wonderful things and exercise and play and make music, and it's just such a joy if we can remember that space, and it's all within us. And it's so, to me, that's what breatharianism is through the breath, focusing the mind in a way that you've just expressed very beautifully. of this harmony of yin and yang, and the dance within, and not being judgmental of anything in the moment. Because I love this story from, I think it's, an Asian story of the grandfather and his grandson, and a horse shows up, and the grandfather, everyone in the community is congratulating the grandfather, saying, "Oh, how fortuitous, got this beautiful horse for nothing. It just came to you." And he said, "Oh, we'll see." And then the next day, the grandson breaks his leg riding the horse. And they go, "Oh, you were right. That wasn't so good." And he goes, "Oh, well, we'll see." And the next day, the army comes through to conscript all the young men to take them off to fight in the war. And he can't go because his leg is broken. And they say, "Oh, what great luck." And he goes, "Oh, well, we'll see." And this is the way of things, right? Like, we always want to judge it in the moment, but we're always getting exactly what we need.
A perspective, a shift of perspective.
Yeah, and we can always gain lessons from whatever is going on, even if it's like, it seems really bad and really like something you want to push off from, something you really don't like, It's actually a moment to embrace it and live. In herbalism, they talk about any trauma or thing that you experienced in your life. If you haven't lived it completely and fully, it will continue to circle on you. It will keep coming back until you really open up into loving acceptance and of what that is, and the pain of it, or
so those scary
discomfort.
traumas, those scary shadow bits that we're afraid of or embarrassed of, or we don't like to talk about, or we don't like to think about, or we don't want to feel, we have to at some point embrace those bits of ourselves and allow them to come up and come out.
Yeah. And in alchemy, they talk about in the realm of demonology, they say your demons are just a part of yourself that you haven't given love or light to, that has just been in the dark and it's festering, so then they get bigger the more you ignore them, sort of, and really they're tiny little things, and we can totally let them go and make fun of them. It's definitely a challenge for each and every one of us. We all have our triggers and our traumas from the past, from our childhood usually is where these things stem from. And the more we can get in loving with acceptance with ourselves, the more we're in true loving acceptance with everything else. And really in that loving vibration of peace and effortless joy that is natural and isn't contrived or pushed, just arises. And I think is really sort of the base of human nature, actually, this naturalness and gentleness. But
so when we come into that space and we're able to live in that space for more of the day, then our energy is able to move freely through the body. And that energy is healing and nourishing. And when you have that free flow of that energy, then there's less need for food.
And that was the other great mind pop of having Ali Tom here after many, many years studying nutrition, alchemy, Ayurveda, all the herbs, telling people this herb for that, doshas, etc., trying to figure out how to balance the system, realizing the natural state of everyone is balance and energy and strength. It's the prerogative of life is to thrive. And to find out that we're really primarily electrical beings, energy beings, and that it's energy that gives us strength and vitality, not food. You can get energy and strength and vitality from food, but it's not as efficient or strong source of electricity as some other things.
Pure.
Through practice.
It's not as pure.
Build. Yeah. Right. And free flowing and, sort of karmically simplistic. And then something that Ellie Tom pointed out is when you eat for your energy and for your needs, then a confusion of mind happens that you are not your source and you need something from outside of you to be complete. And that's something that we're all dealing with, is like how to tap into this source and realize that we are complete and whole, all by ourselves, and that we can energize and uplift each other. We're already there, so to speak, you know. So that was a mind blowing to me, even though I sort of knew that at a certain level, and I've been working with that. To see
When you're in the presence of it, like, that's the thing. Like, it's to follow Elatom online. I followed him for a couple of years before I actually met him. And then when you actually meet him and you're around someone of a higher frequency, because they're not eating and they haven't been eating for a long time. So because of that, there's a frequency change there.
Mm-hmm. You can feel it in his energy. I had distinct sense when we were doing Qigong of like this blue electric light in his dantian just smoothly coursing. And it gave me a visualization of like how this works, of just free flowing energy, you know, and this emphasis on the root, you know. I'm really keen on heart as the guidance system, you know. That word compassion has compass in it. Heart that's the realm of the heart.
But just being in the presence of someone else that's practicing like that has effect of lifting up our frequency and vibration and inspiring us and inspiring it inside of ourselves, right? So it's a greater awareness. It's a greater awareness of self by mixing yourself with that energy.
Yeah, and that's the thing of it, is we're all one, and all of our energies are always mixing anyways. Mm-hmm. You know, they say you're most like the 10 people you spend the most time with.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to mix your energy with people that are, of higher frequency, that are lifting their energy, that are building themselves? Does that inspire you to build yourself? Do you want to be around people that are building you? Does that help you lift up yourself? Right?
Yeah, I really like this idea, also from Tom, of energy management, like with relationships. And to me, there's a great teacher, what's his name? Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart. And he talks about you can know your friends because you will be excited to see them. And if you're not excited to see them, you can question whether or not they're beneficial necessarily to your being. There's those that may be neutral, but there's many who may be drawing your energy. There may be someone, I just had this experience since we last spoke. I'm a very friendly guy. I want to be friends with everyone. It's kind of one of my fears. And that's what this man brought up in me was, that I would be unliked by someone. And he was very vehement about that. And we had good time in the past. But every time in the last several years he came over, I just felt like it was an energy drain. But I couldn't bring myself to be like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I just, I can't keep doing this. This is, dragging me out because of this fear I had of acceptance, And to make a short story of it, things kind of went awry between us. And it was a good opportunity for me to get more loving acceptance with myself and realize that I don't got to be friends with everybody. It's okay to not be friends with everybody. It's okay to not be accepted by everybody, but there are people that will accept you and love you and give you energy gladly and joyously, and you feel that in the relationship in that moment. And those are the ones to gravitate to. And
we can't be afraid to step forward and do something that is better for ourselves. Sometimes we have to do something that is more loving for ourselves. And that may mean, changing my behavior or my availability or my time or my focus or my attention. And if I can't put my energy in that space anymore, I have to change my energy from that space. That's being kind of reckless with my energy if I'm really not I'm not loving myself if I'm not keeping my energy in the right place. I'm not embracing myself
and
if I'm loving
realizing
myself.
your energy is golden. You are a beautiful being, and most of that beauty is on your innards, all of us. It's your insides, it's your soul, your spirit, or your inner consciousness that is this precious jewel, and to not squander it, to give it, like you would your money, place that energy in places where you're going to get returns. It's going to be beneficial for you and others because of the way if you can build your energy this way, then there's more of it for you to spread around,
You got to love yourself.
Like
You've got
we're
to
talking
love
about the
yourself,
energy.
and you have to do what's right for yourself to build your own energy up, to keep your own energy up. You have to give love to yourself. It's not always the right thing to do something for someone or be there for someone. Sometimes we feel we're not good if we don't do the good thing. What everyone says is good. This is what you're supposed to do. But sometime if you don't love yourself, everyone is always going to really be happy with you when you're doing everything for everyone else.
And you'll never be at rest.
And you'll never be at rest. So you'll never be loving yourself, but you'll be loving everybody else, and they'll all love you. But as soon as you start to love yourself, you have to pull into yourself for a moment. That's going to be separating you from giving out to everybody else for a second. So they're all going to be maybe not as happy about a change that's going on within you.
But the ones that are meant to be there will grow to be in loving acceptance of it.
And when you love yourself and your love starts to come out now because you've put love into yourself, then now you'll have love to give to everyone in abundance. There won't be a limit now for your love.
I think it's the meaning of integrity, really. And, these things of putting up energetic boundaries for those that you see are an energetic drain is really also more loving by being truthful, and not kidding yourself or someone else. You can still be loving, and it doesn't have to be, angry or violent, in speech or in any manner.
Sometimes I tell my kids not to do something and I want to pull them away from it. Sometimes I yell, and it doesn't mean I don't love my kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It just means there's a strong feeling there. And sometimes you need to make that strong feeling felt.
That can be loving.
Sometimes it's not enough.
It's not bad and good. It's not bad and good energies is what it is. It's all a part of life. It's the life experience. And when you can start to get into understanding that, there's a hard one. There's a soft one. There's a hard one. There's a soft one. And I can love this hard one and I can love this soft one. And it doesn't make a difference which one's coming, but I can embrace this one and I can embrace that one.
Because you're in your integrity and in your self-love. So you're not rocked or moved by the sway. You're just putting love out no matter what comes, because that's what you are. Essentially, I think that's our essential nature, is love. And to just allow that, you don't actually have to do anything. It's just this allowing to not feel good with someone in a certain situation and allowing that expression to come through. And then similarly, when there is a good situation, expressing that and, building the energy in all the different ways, watching where it's siphoning off. Your money is an energy, your time is an energy. Your focus, is, like you were mentioning, is your energy. And all of that is golden. So, that's a practice I've been in, and in greater way that's been very grounding and helpful, to think of it in that way, that this is my precious gold, you know, and I'm gonna spend it wisely. So there's enough to go around though. Once you get it going and flowing and charging, then, you know, I really believe the heart is actually a 0 point energy device, and that love is what drives it. And so there's an infinite amount to be shared. But getting away from the fears, because that's another energy block, keeps you, you know, from allowing energy, you know, if that may be something you want or need for your catharsis.
Fear blocks our energy from moving freely, right? We're afraid to express ourselves fully. We're afraid to put ourselves out there. We're vulnerable. You know, we could be hurt. Someone could laugh at us. Someone could make fun of us. Someone could tell us we're wrong, right? So, you know, we're afraid to express what's going on most deeply within us. And that's fear that stops all of us from moving forward.
Right. It's that vulnerability that we've been taught is an unprotected space, when really, if you're in this loving heart space, you can open up to the vulnerability, and you're perfectly protected. There's nothing that's going to get you.
Yeah, once you've faced all your demons and you've put it out there and you've seen it and you've felt it and you've let it go and you've expressed that you're not afraid of it anymore, then there's a freedom there. You know, like I can sit completely in my light, and you know, it starts off as me pushing away this food to try to keep the energy away, to try to find this conscious energy that's within me. When I'm not taking in any from the outside, no coffee, no drugs, no foods, no sex, no everything. When I've fasted from all the screens and all the people and all the food and all the thought, when I've fasted from all of it and it's all stopped and I'm just inside in total stillness, and I can see light and I can feel energy and I can feel warmth building inside of my body, then now I can focus on the energy, the consciousness that is now opened up within me. Now, once I can focus on the consciousness, it's not about focusing on pushing away the food anymore. It just becomes focusing on building an inner energy. Once I have a knowing of an inner energy, an inner center, once I have a knowing of that, a knowing that comes from stillness, from practice, from emptiness, not from something outside of me that's affecting my hormones, but me lifting up my own energy intentionally with my own mind, knowing where my energy is at my root and focusing on it, building it with intention and breath.
Yeah.
Connecting to it, inviting it, speaking with it, and inviting it up.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's totally this sovereignty that is all of our birthright, I feel, you know, and to be in a loving vibration with all the other kings and queens in creation, because we're all cosmic kings and queens. There's not one of us here that is higher or lower. We're all in this vibration of highness, and we're all breatharians, but there's a practice. It's a skill set that you build, and you can build it in different ways through different times in your life. And I like that you mentioned not just fasting, you know, but meditation, and not just fasting from food, but also fasting from maybe certain relationships, you know, the social media, etc. Whatever you got to do to keep your that practice of keeping your energy, do it. If you got to pet your cat for a week,
self-mastery. This is self-mastery. It can be breatharianism if you want, but it's about being your best self. It's about your greatest health. It's about healing your
Yeah.
disease. It's about fixing your relationship. It's about making more money. It's about being more healthy. It's about your best frequency, your highest vibration, your greatest expression, your best dream, your passion, your desire, your greatest light, your greatest good, your higher self.
And that's our responsibility. No one else is going to do it for us. So we're accountable. If you're in disease, if you're in a place of depression and discord in your inner life, if you are flying at the heights of Elitom and beyond, it's all because you made it. And
you chose
we
it
got to
and
own
you
that.
created it. You chose it and you created it. You had a choice to choose that and let go of that and do that and do that and get beyond that and embrace that and embrace that and embrace that. And you lifted up your energy with your choice, with your intention.
Right.
Everyone has a freedom to do whatever they like.
I think the practices are different for everyone too, in terms of cultivating this, because we're also different in the experiences we want to have and the things that bring us joy. And so, there are things that are universal, like Ellie Tom talks about, exercise is something that will always bring you energy. Sleep or meditation will always bring you energy. Fasting is important, but it's just like, I've just had this great conversation with him the other day. We tried to record it and it didn't work. We got into this discussion of how, with strength training, you're well aware of this, the resistance and the rest period are equally important. Rest is as important as resistance. And same with the, gaining ground and trying to wean yourself off food. I think eating is as important as fasting, and what you eat, and having this cycle of not trying to, like Ellie Tom says, just put tape over your mouth and just stop eating. It's building all these energetic practices. And one of the energetic practices is fasting. And the other side of that is eating, and eating well, eating appropriately for your health and energy. And that's also, I think, in large part for the individual to decide, but there's clearly foods that are higher vibration and that are going to lead you further along this path, like the fruits and the vegetables,
and we have to work with that in order to find that out and realize that. And that's a bit of a back and forth. And that's why we need to stop and start and stop and start. And that's what the healing paradigm is. It's a looking at Dr. Arnold Ehret, I mean, modern day healing protocol is like 1 to 3 days of emptiness and refeed. 1 to 3 days of emptiness and refeed the body. It's a stopping and a starting, a gas and a brake with your life. It's that push and pull on your life. It's that two opposite forces. It's like dancing with, it's getting used to being empty and being full and being empty and being full and being okay with being empty and being okay with being full. And like, it's okay. And I don't need this one and I don't need that one. And I can be in this one and I can be in that one. And it's okay.
That's what started happening to me as I was getting hung up on just not eating, and I was doing pretty well physically, but my mental hang up, I wasn't getting that back and forth, and it was confusing to the mind, and it's important, like Ellie Tom talks about, consistency is important. It doesn't matter if you can fast long, for however, whatever. What matters is if you can do this consistently.
Sustainability.
Yeah. And to not draw yourself out and blow your energy out trying to do it. It's got to be that thing of it. It resonates with my training in herbalism of like the gentle healing is the deepest and most long lasting. And this way that I've worked with it through, hormesis or epigenetics of just stretching my time window of how much I can, how long can I dry fast? How long can I, go without physical food? And you press that out as far as you can, and then you allow yourself and you get into it, like enjoy it. Like, because I
And
was
then,
getting into food and then I'd
what
be like,
was it
oh,
that
I
I
ate too
needed?
much. Oh my gosh, I'm not a breatharian anymore. You know, instead of just embracing it and being like, now is my opportunity to eat, you know, an awesome vegan sandwich with my kids, you know, and have a day we'll go get popcorn and go, you
And what
know.
triggered me to eat? And what were the triggers? What did I feel? Notice what I felt when it came time to eat. Like, what really made me eat? Like, sit with, like, okay, I'm feeling hungry now. What does it really mean? What does it
Mhm.
really mean? Like, what's really wrong with this?
And where is it in your body? Sometimes I
How do I
notice it.
feel it? What does it feel like?
Mhm.
Where
Sometimes I notice
where
it's like
is
in
it?
my,
Where is it?
yeah,
Is it, what is it
sometimes
that's
it's in my roof.
actually,
Sometimes,
what is it that
yeah.
wants something? And can I actually just connect to that thing? Can I just focus on it? Can I just feel it? Can I just release it? Can I just let it go? Like, sitting with hunger, sitting with desire to have a coffee, sitting with it, sitting with the fog and saying, I feel foggy
Mhm.
today. I want to have a coffee. Have it. I feel foggy today. I don't want to have a coffee today. I want to have one tomorrow instead. Don't have it. And love this one and love that one. It's not to be one way only. It's when we only get on one way only that we're on always fasting, or we're on always coffee, or we're on always my wife has to have sex with me every Friday night, and if we don't, I'm pissed off. You know, like, it's not about being right or wrong. It's not about one way or the other.
Right.
It's
That
about
this,
embracing both.
I think once again, it's this yin yang. We always want to push one away, but you really need both. You got to have both. You got to have the discomfort to have a sense of what the comfort's about, you know?
That's love. Love
And,
is
you know,
giving and receiving
and I
in
think most of
each
our growth
moment.
is in that discomfort, but then you get comfortable with it and then you grow. It's like that hormesis. You lift weights and your arms hurt, and then
Flexion
the
and
next time
extension of
it's
your
easier.
arms, those muscles, both flexion and extension, breath in and out. That's how I interact with each moment in my life, is with an in and an out. A giving of my carbon dioxide and a receiving of the oxygen that is here for me right now. Every single breath is a giving and a receiving of me.
What a blessing, right? Like we have always
Always
have action.
supported.
Yes.
And what's my intention when I breathe in and breathe out? What am I thinking when I'm breathing in and breathing out? That's how I'm interacting with my world.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
The more time that I spend in the loving feeling, the free flowing feeling, the stillness of mind, the more I receive more of my moments, more of my life with a still mind, the more that I'm being my spirit, my light, not my agitated mind, but my spirit, my consciousness, my light. The more present I am with each breath, the more consciousness that I bring into my life, the more light I bring into my consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
The
Literal light.
more I live, the more I live my light.
And I think that's fun too with Ellie Tom, because he brings into the science. Like the atmosphere is full of electrical plasma, you know? Like we're talking about real electricity. This is real energy, real light.
The
It's light.
electron always goes around the nucleus indefinitely.
Yes. And negative ions are available from the earth. You know, we have cosmic rays coming down all the time. There's energy pouring at us from the sun all the time. And your body, we're like extremophiles. Our bodies can, through flexing this back and forth, we can adapt to just absorbing energy. And that is the highest form of medicalism, actually.
We can eat the sun from the fruit and the vegetable, or we can just be out in the sun and we can eat the sun.
And you just have to get accustomed to the discomforts long enough for them to pass.
The intention
of
in the mind
and the body.
Think it into the body and bring it into your reality. Understand it into your reality. Think it so. You can make it so, but you have to intend it so.
Mm-hmm. And we can create anything. We're creators. We have this false assumption that we're consumers. We're creators. We create businesses, we create families, we create money, we create buildings, we create art, we create relationships. Endlessly we create. We're creators primarily. And that's part of our source, this source with creation and actually God within, you know. And they say, you know, all religions say we're children of God. So what do children grow up into? But gods, you know. And we can be the gods of our world by simply cluing into our own hearts and letting them drive the ship, you know. And the neurons fire together, wire together. So like you said, the more you get into this loving practice and loving acceptance, the more it's just natural and easy. The more you get accustomed to the discomforts, the more it's nothing to you, you know, of mind and of body. And so that's where meditation, I think, is the key. Like Ellie Tom puts forth, the foundation. It brings in physically the electrical energy, and it helps your mind to deal with the perturbations, you know. And that's really what this is all about, is just opening up our heart minds so we can have the best experience.
Opening up your channels to allow that energy to move freely through your body. And that happens with exercise and nutrition and some changes of our thought reality and a mental practice. I think it's four things that has to happen.
So when Ellie Tom was here, I started, and I'd love to hash this out with you here online and with Ellie Tom live, because we're going through this. We're living this, you and I. Like other people may think that this is a flight of fancy, but believe you me, the world, we are living it. And Ellie Tom lives it. You know, and you and I both witnessed him not eat for many days on end, exercising, doing qigong, etc. This is a reality.
Sleeping minimally and you know, going. So we've seen it and then watched him, you know, walk out, you know, with his backpack and thumb a ride to his next gig.
Yep. Right. So totally free.
We've watched it. We've been in presence of it. We've been around it more than one time. We've talked to it. We've interacted with that sort of energy. And we know of it. And
we're living it from our experience. We're practicing it.
We're practicing it and seeing it in our own lives. So we know that it's true.
Right. It's not just, you know, anyone can tell me whatever, but I have my experience. Like, you know, you can tell me that I'm not a breatharian, but I simply have had the experience that I live mostly on prana. And so, and my confidence is growing in that, where at first I was
more and more knowing of that space,
of the reality, but now
you start to know it, and then you begin to focus on that, and then once you focus on that, that begins to grow, because what you focus on grows. And once you come to know that space inside of yourself, now it becomes about building that space rather than being about pushing away the food. Because as long as I keep building that energy within me, I'll need less and less food, sex, shopping, money, TV shows, movies, entertainment from outside of being. Anything.
And what I've found is if you're pushing away food, it's super key, to bring in these other practices like the brahmacharya practice, saving your seed. And you can still do this in relationship, in connection with your family. And it should be the case that a man and woman should make love, in a loving relationship and household. That's how he maintains the bonds. It's part of what's natural. But growing into that acceptance of the time of life, you know. So I started charting this a little bit, John. And maybe you can hash this out with me. Let me share this with you for a moment, as I may. But I see, and I'd like to talk with Elitan more about it. But for me personally, the practices that have been the energy replacement of food have been the brahmacharya practice, to a large extent, not 100%, clearly, because I'm in those householder years, and that's the way to be in this time. Fasting practice is an energetic practice that, like all practices, you flex and grow with. So that's just one of the practices, not the sole center of the breathing practice as I see it. The next would be things like Qigong or the 5 Tibetans or yoga, some kind of mindful body movement practice.
Agreed.
As an energetic practice.
Yes.
Exercise is a fourth energetic practice.
So like I would say like a higher intensity activity that drives the heart rate up higher,
yeah.
And then a more lower intensity conscious activity. So a bit of both, or a blending of those two, where the breath is actually out of control and where the breath is within control. And then also a sitting meditation. So a movement meditation, a vigorous activity, a sitting meditation. Yes.
Agreed.
A nutritional fasting process, a back and forth with fasting, a back and forth with wet and dry, dehydrating and hydrating the body, feeding and unfeeding the body.
Right? Yes, totally agreed.
A detoxifying of the body, a stillness of mind and body and nutrition, a bringing the body to a simpler way of being. Less is more.
Right. And then the two other practices that I'd share would be like sun gazing or grounding, getting that cosmic energy just coming to you. And then last of all would be like healing energy work. Like
healing energy work or crystal work, a crystal, right?
Sound bath.
Or to be in the energetic space with somebody, or being around people in a community where you're sharing energy with others, where other people are of intention, that may be giving you some treatment, massage, right?
Yes.
Some sort of coaching, some sort of guide, some sort of thing that I'm watching or reading, or something that's providing me with a change of knowledge, an inspirational thought, an idea that lifts my energy.
I think that creates like
vision, something that creates creativity, something that artwork, something that increases of creativity and imagination, something that frees the mind to.
Right. So that's great. I think you just identified a couple more that I haven't, which I do, but which is a creative practice of some kind, whether it's like whatever, singing or drawing or
playing tennis, playing hockey, playing basketball, some sort of free motion, some sort of free expression, dancing.
Whatever, something, and
hiking,
then information seeking or guidance. Yeah,
reading, watching, listening, people that inspire you, growing, learning.
You can choose your program that way, right? You can go like, I really like this teacher. I really like his message.
I try to put out as much information as I can, but maybe it triggers someone to listen to someone, to find someone, to follow someone, to, something that inspires them. Like here's some ideas, like, look at these, understand these, grow in this, grow further here. This is inspirational. This sort of stuff will expand your ability to think and the things that you think about.
Right. And when you fast and bring in these practices, I've noticed my consciousness get more clear, more like my ability to articulate my thoughts has become better. There's a lot,
A
of
clear vision of what you want in your life gets more clear because you've built up that ability to think more and have more clarity about what you want. And you've thought about it and talked about it and made yourself vulnerable and lived through it and made some decisions.
felt it.
It's about making some
Yeah.
decisions, making some choices
Mhm.
and committing to them,
Mhm.
right? Making some decisions, making some
Yep.
choices and committing to them. 2020,
And
right around the corner. Christmas, right around the corner.
it's a
Big
good
time
time
of
to bring it
year.
in.
Big
Bring
time of
in
the
any
year
one of these practices and watch your life flourish.
for
Bring in all
2020.
of them
Bring
and
them
watch your
all
life go
together.
through the roof. Yeah. Just watch your whole world skyrocket if you just bring it all in. But it can be a bit to bring it all in at once. I find it's good to try.
Practice
Break off one
this,
practice, get
practice
it going.
that, try that, experience
Yeah.
that. How does that work? How does that feel? How do you feel about that? What does that do for you?
Right.
Evaluate it.
And get it ingrained. They say any practice you want to stay with you in 30 days, if you practice it every day for 30 days, you can keep it going forever. So that's the way I've done it. Literally, I've just started one thing at a time for myself. Like I just committed to like eating better at the beginning, and then that just stuck, and then I started meditating again, and this was like 10, 12 years ago or something, and I just started building, and I've just
We
watched
got a
my life.
lifetime. We've got a lifetime. We're not running out of time. Don't think about it like I haven't got enough time. I got to do it so fast. Like this is self mastery. This is about being a better being. Like it's not going to happen overnight. Like we're talking
Give
about
yourself,
improving ourselves indefinitely.
right. Think in terms of 10 years or more,
It's a
like,
3 to 5 year process at least to detoxify your body fully.
yeah. And your
Minimum.
conscious.
Minimum.
Yeah, I mean, if you think you've been practicing these, habits that have been making you ill, of body or mind, for 30 years, 40 years, you're going to turn around in a week? I don't think so. In 3 to 5 years is a pretty good turnaround point.
That's right.
Time, be
That's
honoring.
right. Look at this over a 3 to
Take your
5 year
time.
plan. Where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years? How do you want your energy to be in the next 3 to 5 years? How do you want your life to change in the next 3 to 5 years? Get a bigger vision. Take a different perspective. Look at your life from a different perspective.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm shooting to be as healthy as Ellie Tom when he's 50, and I'm 50.
And I'm coming up on 50,
so,
and I'm
I
wanting
got
to be
8 years.
my best.
Yeah, right. I think it comes in also clearly what Ellie Tom shared was that this time of life is the time for us to bring it in, because there's been this accumulation, from your youth of eating so much and gathering so much experience, education, trying to make your business, your family, and it's all accumulated. And then it becomes time to kind of wash it out. The liquiditarian phase, fasting, let that physical accumulation in your bowels
Deciding, what do I
out.
really want? How do I really want it to be? How do I really want to live this out now? It's choosing for your life. It's picking, how do I want the back end of my life to go now?
Mm-hmm. And, choosing a life of, health and vitality, of increasing, strength and vitality, and
Not
experience,
losing abilities
freedom
as
and
I
joy.
age, improving my
Mm-hmm.
abilities as I age, growing into my age.
Like a fine wine, our consciousness becomes more refined. Our body can become more refined, but it's all through our deliberate practice. So,
A choice.
I love that we share this
choice.
Passion for this, and that I think everyone truly does in their heart, and needs, just inspiration. Oftentimes we just beat ourselves up too much.
Hey, we're just doing what's right for us, and what's right for us is may not be exactly what's right for someone else, but every one of us has light in us. and every one of us
And
needs to shine it. So however it, works for someone to shine it is wonderful. What has to happen is everybody's energy needs to be freely flowing through their life. And when that is happening, we've got a being of love and light.
And if we can actualize our own vitality and happiness and light and gratitude in the world, then that just spreads. And more people, like Eliton points out, health is the craze. This is just the natural. We're all moving towards this at this time. And that, what would be natural is to see one another zinging with energy, feeding each other our excess energy in our communities, because we all got plenty of supply. And the whole, community of the planet raising up through this intentionality and this ownership of our state.
But it's not from stuff. It's not from money. It's not from houses and cars and wealth. It's not from numbers. It's not from bank accounts. It's not from sets and reps and calories. It's not from protein requirements or vitamins. It's not from numbers. It's not from stuff. It's from within. It's from an energy and a life force. It's a self-perpetuating energy source. It's a human battery. It's what we are. We're electromagnetic beings. And when we put the two forces of the being together, then there's a self-generating energy there that needs less and less and less of things from the outside.
Food just being vibrating, like
raising your vibration.
Is high.
Your vibration is going up.
There's lots of energy there. That's just physics. So it's something we can be a conductor, a superconductor of energy, and just live long, healthy lives, growing in our wisdom, growing in our clarity,
and our ability to do that. So as we learn these skills, these self-mastery skills, we're just developing something that's going to improve improve our longevity, improve our energy, improve our joy, improve our future.
And our community, not just us,
our families, our lives, our world. Taking a bigger picture, right? Taking a bigger picture, an intention that's greater than self, that's greater than family, that's greater than community, that becomes a global community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Global community. It's a bigger vision. It's a humankind, a singularity, a oneness, a unity consciousness.
Family. Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a raising up of the humankind. And I'm a part of that. If you intend to be a part of that, that's of a greater vision. That's inspiring, and that brings power to you. That brings power to us. If we make our message be about a unifying consciousness of our planet, a loving of all bits and pieces of our planet and being.
Because we're unified already, but to create that loving vibration throughout our human family is, I think, the task. And, I think you hit it. Like, I love this quote from the Buddha, that if we could only make one person in this world happy, and that was ourselves, then the whole world would be happy. If everyone just took upon that charge. It's huge. It's not easy. It's actually a monumental task. It's a great challenge. It's well worth the fun of it.
It's a noble process. It's a noble process. It's a worthy process. And when you love yourself, then you can love your neighbor as yourself.
In trueness, with truth, and not
because you know what a being needs to be loved, because you've loved your own being. So you know what a being needs to be loved. The acceptance, the radical self-acceptance that is required for a being to love themselves. Because you know that by accepting yourself that much. That's how you learn how to love another being properly.
Well said. Definitely. I love that. It's beautiful. That's the way of it, man. Truly, truly. As I see it anyway. Well, it's been so great to speak with you, John. I'm like, just, doing this, uh, undertaking these trials for an individual is, very trying. It can be very isolating feeling at times. It can be very difficult at times.
So we need community,
And
brother. So it's good we connect, every
I always feel that with you.
6 months at least, and figure out what's been happening, compare notes in the unfooding and the breatharian pranic lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great to just ping off you and see my reflection and see how you're doing with it and dealing with it and, just building this consciousness. I'm really glad to hear that you're going to be speaking at the Pranic conference this year. That's really
The
super
Pranic
cool.
World Festival,
Way to
brother.
go.
Yeah, man.
I'm so happy for you. I hope
Yeah,
to make
man.
it to one of those one of these days.
In Italy,
So
in Italy in June.
cool.
And I'm having my retreat for the New Year's, my New Year's retreat coming up.
You're kind of breaking up a little. Oh, there you are.
So I'm saying,
you're going to do a retreat.
Yeah, and it's just really about bringing yourself to that energy that you really, really love the most, right? And I think that happens when you're meditating. That happens when you're expressing yourself, when you're interacting in relationships that are trusting, and you're talking about your passion, and you're talking about your goal, and you're focusing on it. And that is very lifting for the spirit and being, very healing for the spirit and being, very lifting and energetically healing. And so I love that energy.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think everyone's experienced it at least once in their life where they're having so much fun doing something or with someone that they just totally forgot about eating, because the energy was there. They didn't need the food.
Excited. You're just so excited.
And we say that like, this work feeds me, or this relationship feeds me. Everyone knows this. This is in our parlance. This is what we do. It's just part of being human. There's nothing particularly special about it.
And if it's something that you're doing that you love, like, retreats do that for me. They bring me to that energetic space where I really want to be. That's the place I want to be in. So I want to make sure I do it. I'd like to do it quarterly. I really want it to be a part of my quarterly, so that every 12 weeks I'm kind of bringing myself back to that very, very greatest energy. So that John, over the course of the year, I'm always really refining it each time, each quarter. I'm like bringing all of my message and vision and clarity and goal and thought and word and crystallizing it again and crystallizing it again and crystallizing it again. That brings me higher and higher and higher and higher and higher as I throw some bits out, as you move through and sharpen that saw, So that
and that helps. I think I was going to say, you've developed the mastery enough, and, I feel like I have too. I'm feeling these same things in my heart, and that there's a sharing that people will benefit from. Even if we're still honing practice, there's still, merit in the gains we've had and the trials we've gone through to be able to impart sharing wisdom, so yeah, that I really think that you're doing a great job with it. I really love the way you frame the thought around it, and your positivity and your spirit shine through with your passion about it. And so, I cheer you on, brother.
Yeah, man, I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up about 2020. I'm looking forward to it. I'm super happy that we got connected today, buddy. And I'll look forward to doing this again in the
Me too.
spring, summer at the latest, right?
Yes, let's keep. I would be glad to be more regular. There's definitely. I was on travel. All
We got
came
to get
back, and
it
the
to
result. And
quarterly,
I've
you
just
and
been.
I. We got to get it to a quarterly chat.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay,
We're
that way we
forming
hold
that
ourselves
intention. Let's make it
accountable, right?
happen.
We hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah, it's our practice. It'll be part of our practice to build the community and our energetic connection and bond. It'll help us on our way. I'm
Thanks,
sure
brother.
it already has for me. Just
Thank
to
you,
know that
brother.
there's someone else trying for it. You know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay, my man.
All right, John. Well, thank you so much
I'll see you soon.
for having me on today,
Good
spending your
chatting with
time,
you.
and happy holidays.
You too, man. Happy New
Okay.
Year.
Much love.
See you later.